live at San Diego Comic-Con. I'm Ryan Panagos, aka Marvel's H&M.
And I'm Jess Brohart, host of Marvel Gaming.
We are joined by Jason Reynolds, author of the new Miles Morales.
Hooray, hooray.
How's it going, man?
It's good, man. It's good. It's very exciting.
How long have you been working on this book? Like, when did it start that you were working on it?
Oh, man. So I started working on it August 1st.
Of 16?
Of 16.
Wow.
I turned it in.
It comes out August 1st of 2017.
Yep.
So that's
I started.
Amazing timeline.
Yeah, I started first word on the page August 1st, turned in the first draft August 28th, and then the editing started, and it's been a roller coaster, to say the least.
What was the process like of writing a book based? And first of all, this is your first Marvel novel, is that right?
For sure, this is the first Marvel novel, and I mean, for me, it wasn't much different than writing any of my other novels. At least that's the way I chose to approach it. It's like, all right, I could try to make this a superhero book, or I could try to make this a book about a superhero. And that was sort of my approach, to keep it as realistic as possible and to add as much texture and depth and to create environmental characters and like all this kind of thing, which is what I'm just used to doing, hoping that it would work. All right, hoping that it would work, and I think it did. You know, fingers crossed, but I think it did.
Yeah. So you've got a quote on the back from Brian Michael Bendis, who is one of the co-creators of Miles. How did you talk to him during the development of the story?
So I didn't talk to him directly, but Marvel sent me everything. So everything that had been written about Miles up to that point, I sort of dove into. I remember I watched like the cartoon animated series, just try to get as much information, as much extra information, because I knew a lot already. Yeah. But just wanted to make sure that I had the necessary buttress to do the work, and I needed to know all the intricacies that Bendis had already put into the book. You know.
And as you were going along doing all this research, what did you think of Miles Morales, and how did that affect the way you wrote the novel? I
think the one thing that I really liked about Miles is his normalcy. He's actually a pretty, and this is going to sound, there's a negative connotation here, but he's a pretty pedestrian kid. He's like a normal kid, and I like that more than anything, because I think that's what we need to see more of in terms of literature in general, especially yeah, exactly. And I was like, he's a normal guy. He's a normal kid with family and friends, and he just is trying to figure out what it means to be a teenager, let alone what it means to be Spider-Man.
Is this an origin story for Miles Morales?
This is, for the most part, an origin story for Miles Morales.
When he's first kind of discovering his Spidey powers.
He's discovering his Spidey power, but he's also dealing with. It's almost like superhero puberty, right? There's sort of there's an uncertainty and an insecurity with this new thing that he has the powers to do that he's not so sure he's deserving of, and that's sort of what drives him.
And that's great, because what you're talking about is really like, those are the tenets of Marvel characters. It's like a great Spider-Man story has to be a great Miles Morales story or Peter Parker story, and you know, like, the character of Miles should be indistinguishable from, you know, what we see as Spider-Man, and like who he is, the character that he puts out there, and like why he's a hero is intrinsic in why he's Miles Morales.
Absolutely.
Really exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love the cover too.
Yeah.
Kadir Nelson, right?
Does it get any better than Kadir Nelson?
Like, we can see all this. I think I remember this was shared around a little bit in Marvel offices, and people were like, yeah, we've been trying to get him to do stuff for us for years, literally. And so this came together, and everybody's been super excited about it.
Have you read this yet?
I haven't. It literally landed on one of the desks at Marvel like 2 days before I left for Comic-Con, and I forgot to grab it while I was going. So I'm very, this is very exciting. We're all looking forward to it. And it's one of the things about like books, whether it's comics or novels, and you get a hardback and stuff, like looking at, you have this great jacket, but just like design is such an important piece.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like here you've got this embossed Spider-Man logo.
So good.
Right?
It's so like, good.
Just everything about it.
The details, man. The details.
Did you have input onto the cover design and everything?
No. And you know, it's one of the I've written a lot of books, and cover design is always stressful because you never know how it's going to go. And the writer always has some idea in his head, but he doesn't have much of a say.
And maybe comes out differently than you're envisioning.
Exactly. But this one was, it's like the perfect storm, and the fact that Kadir said okay to doing it. They told me that they were thinking, like, we're gonna try to see if Kadir would do it, and I'm like, please, this would be amazing. I mean, especially for I work in children's literature. Kadir's the guy. You know, for us, it's like it's Kadir Nelson. You know, let alone he's just a brilliant artist, and so I'm honored and humbled that he would do me and all of us the favor of doing the cover of this.
So, I was just like, just going back, like, what is your, like, did you grow up reading Marvel comics? Were you a Marvel fan? Like, who were your characters that you gravitated towards when you were reading?
So when I was a kid, I like to say that I was comic book adjacent. You know, I wasn't a kid who was like I could have never imagined myself at Comic-Con. Right, like that wasn't my.
Here you are now.
And I know, and I'm super happy to be here. It wasn't my world at that age, though. My older brother, on the other hand, was like hardcore, you know, plastic sleeves and cardboard and like the whole thing. You know,
is he super excited now that you get to be here?
He's my little brother is excited. My older brother is like way more excited than any of us. I mean, he's just so happy and he's so proud. You know, he was the kind of guy who I remember when Black Panther and all that was first starting. Yeah. My brother's like, man, you know, this has been in existence for a long time, right? And he starts going like, I can show you Black Panther from the 70s. I can show you Luke Cage from the 70s. I can show you all of these people that we're now thinking are brand new. And he's just kind of like an OG and an aficionado in that way. And so I leaned on him a lot.
Cool.
Yeah, and Spider,
but resource to have right in the family.
Of course. But Spider-Man was everywhere. So like, Spider-Man's sort of pervasive, right? It's like Spider-Man and Wolverine, right? Yeah. For me, in my youth, those are the two characters that were omnipresent, right? I know everything about Spider-Man and Wolverine, having rarely read a Spider-Man or Wolverine book, but just they were a part of youth culture at that time in a way.
Cartoon,
oh my
like
God, the toys,
so like
and I'm 33, so exactly.
Yeah, so right, we had the cartoon. We had the amazing toys that
the
we
amazing
never
toys.
had before that. Then you had like the video games. I don't know if you were
yes,
like,
exactly.
Sega Genesis.
Exactly. You had Sega. That's what it was, man. So that was sort of my entree to the superhero world.
So even if you didn't necessarily read the comics, there's just so much of a comic culture out there for you to draw inspiration from.
And it's so funny because comic culture now is just popular culture.
Yeah.
And the truth is,
but
the truth is that if we were being honest about it back then, it was back then too. Certain figures were just woven into popular culture in a way that we don't like to give credence to.
So now, aside from just comics, you know, when you were growing up, who were some authors and what were some books that you drew inspiration from and that you kind of now continue to draw inspiration from as an author? You know what, the biggest author for me growing up was Walter Dean Myers, who we lost a couple years back, and that's because Walter was basically writing these kinds of stories sans the superhero part, right? These sort of gritty tales about New York City or just city kids, specifically black and brown children growing up in specific environments, giving them humanity, right? Saying that there's more to their stories than sort of news clips and sound bites, and that there are broad nuances and complexities to their stories that need to be explored so that we can see our children, whether they're black, brown, or other, as children, right? And so when I approach a story like Miles, like Walter's, and he was a mentor of mine, like Walter's sort of in my ear, right? I have to do Miles justice, not only as Spider-Man, but as Miles Morales, a half black, half Puerto Rican Brooklynite. Like that's just as important for me to do that justice as well.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Jason, where are fans going to find you on social media? You know, anywhere?
Oh man, everybody can find me at Jason Reynolds 83 at all the things. Jason Reynolds 83 on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and all the things. All the things.
And once again, your book Miles Morales Spider-Man comes out on August 1st.
August 1st. I'm so excited. Check it out.
I cannot wait to
Thank you.
my copy.
Thank you.
Super cool. Yeah, y'all pre-order it. Go to your local bookstore. Support independent bookstores. Any bookstores. Go out there, get yourself a copy. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on.
Appreciate y'all, man, for sure.
Guys, stay tuned. We're gonna have Eat the Universe coming up right now. Y'all just so much going on here at Comic-Con. Very exciting. Stay tuned.
Bye.